The HOA thought they were demolishing just another unauthorized structure. Instead, they destroyed a memorial bridge built by a federal judge on protected land. Now, Karen and her power-hungry HOA face crushing legal consequences as my quiet father unleashes the full force of federal law on them. Before watching full video, comment below from where you watching, also like and subscribe for more stories. The day started like any other in our peaceful riverside community. Birds were singing, neighbors walking their dogs, and water flowing quietly under my father's beautiful wooden bridge. That bridge connected our backyard to a small island where Dad built a special garden after Mom died. It was his peaceful place to remember her. But by evening, that bridge would be destroyed, and our quiet neighborhood would explode into the biggest legal battle our county had ever seen. "Your bridge breaks HOA rules," Karen Wellington announced that morning, pointing her finger at my father. The Homeowners Association president stood with her arms crossed, with two workers holding tools beside her. Section 8, paragraph 4 says no new structures without board approval. We're taking it down today. My father, a quiet man who rarely raised his voice, just adjusted his glasses and spoke very softly. "That bridge," he said, "is on federally protected wetland. And I'm Federal Judge Robert Thornton. Maybe you should check if you have the right to do this before you continue." Karen looked uncertain for a second but quickly became determined again. "We've already voted. The bridge comes down today." She should have noticed the small smile on my father's face, the same smile he had in court just before announcing a decision that changed people's lives forever. She should have wondered why he simply nodded and walked away, already making a phone call. But Karen didn't notice. Karen didn't wonder. Karen was about to learn a very expensive lesson about power, authority, and the consequences of messing with the wrong quiet man. 3 hours later, I returned home from college to find absolute chaos. The beautiful bridge that had stood for 15 years was now a pile of broken wood. The meditation garden my father had lovingly created was trampled by workers' boots. Even the small memorial plaque with my mother's name lay cracked on the muddy ground. Karen stood watching, arms crossed and a satisfied smile on her face. When she saw me, she actually waved. "Your father needs to learn that rules apply to everyone," she said. "Maybe next time he'll get proper approval." I tried to explain that my father had all the necessary permits, that the land was protected, that he was a federal judge, but Karen just laughed. "A judge? Please. I've lived here for 8 years and know everyone important. Your father sells insurance or something. Stop making up stories." I picked up my mother's broken memorial plaque, hands shaking with anger, and walked inside to call my father. "Dad," I said when he answered, my voice breaking. "They destroyed everything. Mom's garden is ruined." There was silence on the other end. Then very calmly he said, "Take pictures of everything. Don't touch anything else. I'll be home in 20 minutes. My father arrived home wearing his full judicial robes. He had come directly from the courthouse, and he wasn't alone. With him were 2 U.S. Marshals, an environmental protection officer, and our family lawyer. Karen's smug smile disappeared when she saw the official vehicles pulling up. It vanished completely when my father stepped out, his black robes flowing in the evening breeze. "Ms. Wellington," he said in his courtroom voice, a voice I rarely heard at home, "I believe you've made a serious error in judgment today." Karen's face turned white. "You really are a judge?" "Federal Judge Robert Thornton, 11th Circuit. This land," he gestured to the destroyed bridge and garden, "is federally protected wetland. I have owned all permits for this bridge for 15 years. It was approved by federal, state, and yes, even your predecessor at the HOA." He handed her a thick folder of documents. "These are copies of all permits and approvals. Those," he pointed to the U.S. Marshals who were now taking photographs and placing yellow tape around the area, "are federal officers documenting the illegal destruction of protected property and the damage to a federally protected ecosystem." Karen started to stammer something about HOA rules, but my father raised his hand, silencing her instantly. "The environmental damage alone carries penalties of up to $100,000. Destruction of private property, another $50,000. Ignoring clearly posted federal land markers. Yes, the small blue signs you removed before bringing in your workers. That's another federal offense." What happened next was like watching a perfect legal storm. Within days, Karen was removed from the HOA board. The HOA itself was facing a federal investigation. The construction company that tore down the bridge lost its license pending review. But my father wasn't done. He invited the local news to cover the story. Soon it went viral. HOA president destroys federal judge's memorial to late wife, damages protected wetland. Karen became the most hated person in our community. She couldn't even buy groceries without people turning away from her in disgust. 3 weeks later, a for sale sign appeared in front of her house. The best part came when the court ordered Karen and the HOA to pay for a new bridge, one that had to be built to my father's exact specifications by master craftsmen. It cost 5 times what the original bridge had cost, and Karen had to personally pay 60% of it. The day the new bridge was completed, my father held a small ceremony. He placed a new memorial plaque for my mother, bigger and more beautiful than the original. But he added a second plaque that read, "This bridge was rebuilt by court order after its illegal destruction. Let it stand as a reminder that no one is above the law." Karen moved away a month later. Before she left, my father sent her a small gift, a framed copy of the Constitution with certain passages about property rights highlighted, and a note that simply said, "For future reference." Today our bridge stands stronger and more beautiful than ever. The garden has regrown, and my father visits it every evening at sunset, just as he always did. The story of Judge Thornton's bridge has become legendary in our town. The HOA now consults environmental lawyers before making any decisions. No one dares to question permits or authorizations without thorough research. As for me, I learned something valuable from watching my father handle the situation. He never yelled, never threatened. He simply knew the law and let it work exactly as it should. Sometimes the best revenge isn't loud and angry. Sometimes it's calm, methodical, and delivered with a small smile and the full force of federal law behind it. And somewhere, in a different neighborhood with a different HOA, Karen Wellington probably thinks twice before challenging a quiet man with a bridge.